So I'm going to welcome Ciaran Doherty, who can introduce himself properly, but he's going to look at our Tourism and I product review, looking ahead to the future of tourism in Northern Ireland. Thanks, Ciaran.
Thanks, Jess. Good afternoon, everyone. It's always pretty hard to follow a storyteller when you're going to do a presentation. I don't know, maybe I could try to sing this one, but I won't put you through that. Is this the clicker? The green button to move on. Yeah, so look, I'm really happy to be here and to share some findings of a piece of research that we've done over the last while. And so it's really a piece of work to inform where our capital funding programs or projects should really be going in the future. I guess from my perspective, my name's Ciaran Doherty. I head up the Regions and Investment team, so that's effectively working with all of the council stakeholders across Northern Ireland, but also developing capital programs and capital projects, and so actually doing the building work. So what is this piece of work? What it's all about? Where are we now? Where could we be? And how do we get there? Those were the kind of pillars that we followed in terms of doing the piece. So it was a piece that we commissioned with USI. They helped to do a lot of the facilitation workshops that we've done. We reviewed the current tourism product that is out there to get an idea of where we are, where is the regional balance or indeed imbalances. We looked at all of the strategies. There was an extensive piece of desk research done, looking at like the 10X strategy, looking at the city and growth deal strategies, looking at all of council strategies across the board, looked at all of their local development plans, what they had upcoming. And we also did quite a bit of benchmarking with our competitors out there in the different countries across the world. Where could we be? We did quite a bit of ideas generation in terms of these workshops. We looked at examples of best practice from across the world. So we've got a pretty comprehensive list of very innovative product out there, and I'm going to share some of that with you just to hopefully give you a wee bit of inspiration or see what's happening in the wider world. In terms of looking where we could be, we need to see where is the potential funding pots coming from. We've obviously got the city and growth deals, but is there opportunities through Peace Plus? Is there opportunities through Shared Island, etc., etc.? And then we need to figure out how do we actually get there. So through all of the themes that were surfaced, through all of the consultations and all of the research, we come up with a framework, basically to inform our decision-making process going forward. It's pretty comprehensive, it's fairly detailed, and again, I'll share that with you now in a bit. So it was very much a co-designed exercise. We engaged with all 11 councils, with stakeholders such as National Museums, NI, National Trust, Locks Agency, a lot of people. We put out industry surveys and we did a number of sessions inside Tourism Northern Ireland and Tourism Ireland. And part of the research that we looked at was all of the product that we have already here in Northern Ireland that is known to us and also beyond that. But basically, it reinforces, what we already know. The honeypots are here in Belfast and are obviously up along the Causeway Coastal Route. There's still really great opportunity for growth in the mid-southwest region, for example. I call it in terms of the city and growth deals. But we've also could see from a product perspective, and this really reinforces what all of the guys have been saying today, we do have great product in terms of outdoor activities, etc., but we really do need the upper game in terms of our cultural offering. We also are low in terms of well-being, so there's really, really good opportunities for investment there. Just to share with some of you, maybe a lot of people here in the room are not fully aware of the projects that are coming along. Now, just a caveat, all of these projects here in terms of the city and growth deals are at different stages of approvals, process, etc. So you've got the Gobbins, for example, there in Mid and East Antrim up in Island McGee. If you haven't been to it, you really should go. It's an absolutely fantastic experience where you're walking down alongside the cliffs on suspended bridges, and whether it's sunny or stormy, it's really, really breathtaking. But when you're walking down there, it's obviously a facilitated group tour, so you're walking down there with a guide, limited in terms of the numbers. You go through alongside the cliffs and sometimes through the cliff itself. To get down to the end, then you got to turn on yourself and come back again. So obviously they're restricted in terms of numbers. So the plan with the Goblins, phase 2, is really to build a brand new visitor centre at the top of the cliff, connect the actual stairwells, what are they called? Stair bridges or whatever you call them. And then a cliff top walk along the top with potentially the last plans that I saw anyway had another rope bridge, not dissimilar to Carrick or Reid. So effectively they're going to be creating a loop walk so the numbers can actually be processed much, much higher, and the visitor centre will be absolutely wow there as well. Belfast Stories, probably most people in the room familiar with this, the big signature wow project for Belfast at the old bank building, which will really tell the story of the place of Belfast, but more importantly, the people of Belfast. Royal Hillsborough, so again, the castle, undergetting some development there, but a big piece of work in terms of public realm and really getting visitors coming in to Hillsborough for the castle, but extending that stay, so much more to see and do in the village or town or city, whatever it's going by at the moment. Carrickfergus, the castle, is getting a major reinvestment as well. There will be another great opportunity really to signpost this is the start of the Causeway coastal route. Often, gets bypassed and it is ripe for development there. National Museums Northern Ireland doing some work I know proposed for the Folk Museum in Belfast, but the Ulster American Folk Park, which is already, and JP's just caught my eye, which is already a fantastic product there, but it is now going to undergo major development, and it will really put that region on the map again. Mournes Mountain Gateway project is the gondola going up into the Mourne Mountains, building a new visitor centre at the top of the Mourne Mountains, give people access in there in a controlled way, so be able to manage the numbers very well there, and it will really help Newcastle as a destination. And then finally, Londonderry on the North Atlantic is the new museum that is being built at Ebrington, which is going to be a real catalyst for improving visitor numbers to the city as well, because Ebrington, former military barracks, connected with the Peace Bridge. You've got a new hotel has gone in there. You've got a really great food and drink offering in terms of Walled City Brewery and stuff. So now having a museum there, which will really tell the story of Derry's place on the North Atlantic and how important it was through all the world wars and even back further than that, and also with a genealogy experience. So that they're very exciting coming along. When we looked at case studies of product that has been developed that has worked really well, we aligned them with the UN sustainability goals that were appropriate. And I wanted to just share this one here from the Goblins as it's been set up at the moment, just to give you a sense of, look, it's a really great tourism product. However, the community was really well engaged at the start of this and in the development of the visitor centre. And it surfaced that there was a requirement for a nursery school in the local area, and could that be incorporated into the actual visitor centre as a community centre with the nursery school? Numbers have been really great, and it's actually led to more people staying, families staying, kids staying and going to the local school, which is actually supposedly getting an extension to it because of the really improved visitor numbers. So I just want to say, we need to also always be thinking about tourism. It's beyond just the visitor numbers. It has a real opportunity for us to do good. The Open 2019 seems like an eternity ago with all of that funny stuff that happened in between. But I live up on the North Coast, and I know that this was an amazing event in terms of bringing in hundreds of thousands of visitors, and also seeing Portrush, Northern Ireland, the island of Ireland, on TV screens right across the world, and showing that we can really deliver world-class events, but also that this is a fantastic place to come and stay and actually to live as well. So that was great, showcasing all of that, getting the visitor numbers, etc. But for the town of Portstewart, or Portrush as well, that's a slip of the tongue. I live in Portstewart, but I coach football in Portrush, but I'll get on to that in a second. So there was a major investment in the town. They improved the train station, put up new lighting, all of the shops and whatever storefronts got a real revamp, and it really improved civic pride, but also made it a warmer, more welcoming and safer place, Portrush. From a football perspective, actually, there's a wee tenuous link. I coach Portrush youths, and our football pitch was actually taken over by the Royal and Ancient for the event. They put all of the media on our pitch, destroyed the pitch, so we had to play in cold rain for the following year. But what was reinvested was a better surface. So after one season, we're back there. And also, we got new changing rooms and storage facilities as a legacy piece. So again, it's a big event. We do events really, really well. They're really important, but they can have a legacy. And I think that we need to keep getting that message out there that tourism is wider than that. And just to sum that up, in terms of this slide, Tourism Northern Ireland report into the Department for the Economy, and that's good, that's great, we should be looking at the economic drivers, but also tourism goes beyond that. It's really got a place to play in terms of Department for Communities. It can improve health, it can improve well-being. Also, Department for Infrastructure, we can't get our people around without good infrastructure. How are actual visitors travelling? How are people here travelling? So there's all these silos at the moment, and we really need to move that narrative and change that perception of tourism to really say this is really something that we should all be supporting, because it can improve inclusive growth and well-being. It impacts individuals, it impacts society, and you know what? It can also impact the environment in a good way if we do it properly. We did a bit of benchmarking from our competitors in terms of Fáilte Ireland and in terms of Visit Finland. Don't get caught up with the numbers, but those numbers just show what we're up against in terms of budgets that our competitors have. But we really dove in below that just to see what type of practices, how are they working and operating. So we have actually quite good relationship with Fáilte Ireland, and when we work with them, particularly in overseas markets where it makes sense. Fáilte Ireland have a very strong focus in identifying an area, doing a SWOT analysis of it, so almost seeing what are the needs there. But they develop destination management plans effectively, but they don't do it just on their own. They know that their roles and responsibilities only go so far, so they've very much got a multi-agency approach. They don't assign budgets at the start to just see what does this place need, where is it rich for improvement, what are going to be the constraints, etc. Then they get all of the actions assigned in the appropriate way. And it's not always about actually delivering something. Sometimes it's about influencing decision makers as well. So there's a lot to be learned from that type of approach. Visit Finland have got a very, very much data-driven focus in terms of tracking visitors, seeing what the visitors are doing, seeing what they're looking for, and so that effectively is a market-led approach. They're developing the Nordic Sea route. They're very focused on that in terms of sustainability going forward, and they want to develop clusters of experiences, smaller, more authentic places. So imagine who they're looking at as best practice. They look actually at Tourism Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland Embrace of Giant Spirit and the industry here in terms of what is being delivered. So while we may not have the same budgets, we are actually looked upon, with a little bit of envy from some locations in terms of how we're doing things. So these are some of the big list of different things around the world. I mean, I think as part of the research, we probably ended up with about 50 or 60 of them. But I thought some of these are very interesting in terms of, like, Zero Island, for example, is a place in Sweden where you can go to, and it's absolutely net zero carbon in terms of your transport to the island, in terms of your accommodation, all of the waste management, and it really plays that whole sustainability, and green tourism and well-being thing. The Eden project, many people here will be familiar with this in terms of regeneration. It's really blending tourism with education, engaging communities, all of that really good stuff, and also churning over 1 million visitors through it a year, so a big money-making piece as well. That's doing good. I don't know, is there anybody Spanish in here? Apologies. Cas Temple, or whatever it is called in terms of how you pronounce it. It's actually it was an old derelict church, and people in the community really knew that they needed to be doing something with this because there was obviously antisocial behaviour, et cetera, around it. So they actually got the Irish group and actually engaged with Red Bull, and they turned the church into an indoor skate park for all of the locals, but they also brought in some world-renowned, so he's so world-renowned, I don't even know his name. I think it's Osana or something, a Japanese guy. And he graffiti artist all through the church as well. So it's a really, really cool place now, and there's videos of it online. I was going to play one of the videos, but I thought I would just describe it for you, so maybe I should have actually played the video. Under is a restaurant in Norway, I'm pretty sure. I haven't been there, but you can see visually it's actually incredible. It's a restaurant where you go down, you get submerged, you're sitting fine dining, and guess what the type of food is? Gary, could you guess? Fish, right? So I'm led to believe that there's actually a 6-month waiting list for that place as well. And again, there's videos and stuff, all of that. And it just really plays to the whole sustainability, thinking different, innovative, and just a wow attraction. And then somewhere closer to home is Fort Dunree. So this is in the planning from Fulch Ireland's perspective, and it's up just outside Buncrana in Donegal there. And Fort Dunree was an old military fort. It's on 3 levels, so there's a major investment going in there to connect all 3 sections of the fort, develop an outdoor event space, and also you can see these glass walkways down onto the water, getting out onto the water, which will be an absolutely incredible experience. So there is wow things out there that we can take inspiration from, and you can see what the lessons learned absolutely are. We looked across a number of different competitors just to see what they're doing. And you know what? All of their themes seem to be very, very similar to us. So we are absolutely moving in the right direction. So looking at skills and career pathways, looking at outdoor recreation, looking at developing digital content, and also, sustainability, regeneration, really, really key for all of our competitors. So as I was saying about the framework that is the core piece of this, and it'll be available for everyone pretty soon. This is the start of the journey in terms of socializing it. It'll really help us to inform how we will measure, how we will select projects or programs going forward. And kind of hard to see here, but it's made up of 5 pillars. One, in terms of being attractiveness. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You got to develop something that is appealing, but you can ask yourself a number of questions around just how appealing it is. It might be your wee pet baby, but maybe someone else may not find that little baby just as attractive. It needs to be innovative. It needs to have regeneration and sustainability at the core. We need to also be thinking about inclusivity, engaging with communities, making sure that things are accessible, et cetera, and also collaborative. We hear the word collaborative a lot of times, but the stuff that really works is always very, very often done in collaboration with people. So in terms of the framework, there is a lot of checklists and questions that you can ask yourself against these potential projects. So from an attractive perspective, does it align with the Embrace the Giant Spirit brand, for example? Is it authentic? Is it distinctive? Can it focus? Can it help to deliver on a regional and seasonality basis? Is it unique? Is it like of this place here, Northern Ireland, that people really want? From an innovative perspective, you can ask yourself questions around, is digital technology being embraced here? Is it really helping to contribute to the visitor's experience? Is there an opportunity for apprenticeships as part of this new project? From a regeneration perspective, like sustainability, you can see you'll probably be familiar with all of the kind of questions that you want to ask yourself there. Are the visitors encouraged to be sustainable? Is there carbon assessments, et cetera, in place? And the inclusivity piece is very, very interesting as well. I think that this is the direction of travel that we're going. We want to make sure that people are included. So when you're developing something, it has to have the socioeconomic benefits in there. Is it giving you access to the culture and arts in a way that wasn't previously available? Also, is it affordable? Can local people actually avail of this? And is there an opportunity, to provide discounts or access in that perspective? And then coming back to the collaboration piece as well, there's got to be a shared vision. You got to provide evidence that relevant, strategies, et cetera, have been, looked at, explored, and also is there opportunities for clusters, and have all of the relevant stakeholders been engaged? So, almost in summary, there is a lot of challenges. There's a lot of opportunities actually out there too. I mean, the challenges are from an investment perspective, it's like 2012 since we had our last significant investment, in what were called the signature projects at that time, Titanic and the Giant's Causeway Visitor Centre. We have a skills and talent challenge. There's no two ways about that, and we need to be very, very conscious of that. But there are opportunities. We have a fantastic brand now in Northern Ireland that is really starting to bed in. People are taking it on and are really embracing it, for want of a better word. But there's also the city and growth deal opportunities coming along. And also, we are underdeveloped. We are underdeveloped here in Northern Ireland, so we've got a really great opportunity for growth in a sustainable way. So just final in summary, in terms of the roadmap and moving this capital piece forward, I mean, it's really about socialising this, getting it out there, getting it in front of relevant departments, relevant stakeholders, all of the councils, just starting to talk to many of them about this, and it'll also inform any pitches and bids that we'll be looking to put in from a capital perspective. Making sure that strategies, there's synergies there, that other departments are aware of this, and this is the direction of travel, and this is what we've got, this is where we want to go, and this is what future visitors need. There needs to be continued engagement. We need to be developing partnerships. I mentioned there that we work closely with Fulch Ireland, and we're working with Tourism Ireland on a shared island piece as well to develop synergies between the Causeway Coastal Route and the Wild Atlantic Way. I think that that'll be a fantastic programme once we get it rolled out. And you know what? If we can establish wins and showing how working in collaboration there works, potentially we can unlock other monies. We want to move to a place where we'll be looking to commission destination development plans, not dissimilar to what Fulch are doing, but it'll be really, really much around working very closely with Emer's team in terms of experience development and the industry to see what are the requirements down at that regional level. And you know what? Just maintaining ambition, it's so, so important. We've come a long way here in terms of our journey from a tourism perspective in Northern Ireland, but we have a really great opportunity to move to the next level in a sustainable and inclusive way. We know that this is a fantastic place to visit. It's a fantastic place to live as well. So I think that tourism has a real opportunity to do good. So that's me wrapping up there. And I said 10 minutes, and I'm sure I didn't do 10 minutes, Jess. So thanks, everyone. I'll not keep you from your lunch.